I reviewed the Bose QC Ultra a couple of years ago and I highly recommended it based on its top-notch noise cancelling, exceptional comfort, great form factor, and a solid feature set. Sound-wise, it was a definite step up from the QC45 and the now discontinued Bose 700. Thanks to Alexis marketing, I've had a chance to spend time with the second gen of the QC Ultra, and I've got to say I really like it. So here's my full review. Now before we begin, the QC Ultra 2nd Gen retails for $27,900, which is the same launch price as the 1st Gen. You can find Bose stores in most major malls locally, all run by the good folks over at Alexis Marketing, who have been generous enough to let me borrow their Bose headphones for review. If you already own the 1st Gen, should you upgrade to the 2nd Gen? The improvements are mostly incremental, but they are meaningful. And here they are: a more refined noise cancelling algorithm with smoother transitions and better handling of sudden noises. Improved battery life, now rated at up to 30 hours compared to around 24 hours on the 1st Gen. The addition of cinema mode geared more towards movies and TV shows. Updated Bluetooth support and smarter auto on and off behavior, including faster and more reliable pairing when you put them on. USB-C wired audio with lossless support, which is a big deal, allowing higher resolution playback and lower latency when used wired. And finally, a slightly tweaked tuning with reduced bass and upper treble compared to Gen 1. In my opinion, those differences are minor, but they can be useful. For instance, the USB-C wired support with lossless audio can be really beneficial to the right person. Battery life, likewise, is a good improvement with an addition of 6 hours over the 1st Gen. Jumping straight to the sound, I find the default tuning on the 2nd Gen more palatable than the first one, which was already a big improvement over Bose's older headphones such as the Bose 700 and the QC45. For commuting or flying, the stock tuning in my opinion is perfectly fine. That said, there's EQ available in the app, so I definitely take advantage of it. The EQ can be accessed through the Bose app, and you'll want to tweak it based on your preferences and even how the headphone fits your head. Personally, I dial down both the bass and the treble quite a bit to achieve a more balanced sound. There's still plenty of bass, which I actually prefer for ANC headphones, but the mid-range becomes less recessed and much more enjoyable. Overall, this is the best sound presentation I've experienced from a Bose headphone. It feels less compressed because of a more balanced tuning and better than ever before. Of course, a quick A/B comparison with any good wired headphone will still reveal its limitations, but for what it is, I genuinely enjoy how it sounds. An important thing is to make sure you let the headphone do its ear scan at the start. To do this, wear the headphone while it's turned off, then turn it on while wearing it. When the voice prompt plays, that's when it scans your ears to optimize the sound based on your ear shape. This ensures that you get the best possible sound from the headphone. Back to the app. Aside from EQ, you also get to access various listening mode, the ability to fine-tune the level of noise cancellations and other settings. Just like before, the app can still be a bit finicky. Sometimes it doesn't immediately detect that the headphones are connected, which can cause small delays on changing settings. In my experience, it's not a big deal, it happens every once in a while, but overall the app seems fine. Moving on to USB-C audio, this is a pretty big addition as USB-C wired audio lets you bypass Bluetooth compression entirely and listen to 16-bit lossless audio, assuming your files and source support it. Now, if you're mostly listening to Spotify or YouTube, the difference is honestly minimal. But the great thing is that all of Bose's DSP features such as EQ, ANC, and all other sound profiles still work in wired mode, so you get the best of both worlds. With higher resolution files, I do notice a slightly cleaner and more refined sound. That said, for casual listening or commuting, I'm perfectly happy ditching the cable and using them wirelessly as they're intended for. Now, I don't currently have other ANC headphones on hand for direct comparison, so most of this is based on memory. Compared to the 1st Gen, the 2nd Gen sounds more balanced as previously mentioned. It's still bassy with sparkly highs but less aggressively V-shaped. Against the Sony XM6, I actually find the XM6 even more V-shaped with an upper bass emphasis that bleeds into the mid-range and makes it sound a bit woolly. That said, all of these headphones can be EQ'd and tuned to taste. In terms of stock tuning, I still prefer the AirPods Max, which I've owned previously, mainly because of its more linear bass and mids along with airier highs. It sounds less like a typical ANC headphone, which I personally enjoy. Now, the obvious comparison for the QC Ultra 2nd Gen is the new Sennheiser HDB 630. I was able to audition the HDB 630 a couple of times, and I think it's a better sounding headphone overall with its default tuning. However, Sennheiser doesn't really do well with noise cancelling, so Bose easily edges it out in terms of the ability to cancel noise. Now, segueing into noise isolation, this is something that Bose has been really good at, and I think even with the older QC35, Bose has done active noise cancellation really well. Since I don't have the original Ultra with me, it's hard to quantify how much better Gen 2 is compared to Gen 1, but the QC Ultra has always been among the best when it comes to noise cancellation, and if anything, Gen 2 has at least maintained, if not slightly improved that performance. In real-world use, whether on a plane or commuting by train, it cancels a significant amount of noise and I'm very satisfied with it. Noise cancelling is Bose's specialty, so this really isn't something I'd worry about when considering this headphone. I'd say it's on par with, if not slightly better than the XM5, which I've briefly used previously. At this point, I think improvements are becoming more and more marginal, not because companies are doing a bad job, but because ANC tech is already pretty good. Manufacturers are now focusing more on features, tuning, and overall experience rather than raw, noise-canceling gains. Thankfully, the rest are areas Bose has always been good at. Accessories and build quality are solid. The QC Ultra's design is on the smaller side for an over-ear headphone, just like their previous models, yet it remains extremely comfortable and can easily be worn for hours with little to no discomfort. It folds nicely and comes with a clamshell carrying case, making it easy to travel with. Design-wise, it's very business-like and understated, which I've always liked, though Bose is now offering bolder color options like Driftwood Sand and Midnight Violet if you want something different. Now, there was a time when Bose could be criticized for not feeling premium enough. I've always felt that was a bit unfair since Bose prioritizes comfort and lightweight design. But even with the last QC Ultra, they've clearly stepped things up, incorporating aluminum elements and sturdier plastics while still keeping the headphones light. Aesthetically, it avoids the bulky or flashy look of some competitors, and I personally really like that. Overall, the QC Ultra 2nd Gen isn't a radical overhaul, but it doesn't need to be. It builds on what was already one of the most comfortable and best noise-canceling headphones on the market and refines the experience where it matters. You get better battery life, slightly improved tuning, more polished ANC behavior, and the very welcome addition of USB-C wired audio with lossless support. Sound quality is the best I've heard from Bose so far, comfort remains class-leading, and noise cancelling is still right at the top. If you already own the QC Ultra 1st Gen, this upgrade isn't mandatory, I feel, but it really depends on your priorities. If features like longer battery life, USB-C audio support, and a more balanced tuning appeal to you, maybe it's a worthwhile step up. And if you're coming from an older Bose model or shopping for a premium ANC headphone for the first time, the 2nd Gen is an easy recommendation. It's not flashy, it's not trying to reinvent the wheel, it just does what it's supposed to do extremely well. Thanks again to Alexis Marketing for sending over the QC Ultra 2nd Gen for review. They've always been supportive of this channel and have always sent me products whenever they come out. Make sure to check them out over at alexis.com or visit their stores nationwide.